Day 31 in the journal Journey of Learning. Today I'm going to reveal to you the potential of what you can do with the syslog messages and the stats and data that you're gathering from the network. Data is very powerful, not only in the world of information technology, but in the world of business. Even in your household, data can help you accomplish a lot of things. It provides insight whereby which you can make decisions. And so, in this portion of the project, we're going to utilize that data and leverage it for our benefits in the network. So what I'm going to do is to utilize Excel to pull that data into the Excel spreadsheet and perform some cleansing and analysis and a few other things to make this data more useful and provide some insights and to tell a story by which we can make some decisions. We are now delving into the world of data analytics or data analysis, into the world of being a data analyst. Now, I'm using Excel. I'm a fan of Excel. I like Excel. There are also other tools you can use: SQL, Python, Power BI, Tableau. I'm a fan of all of those products. But for this particular portion of the project, we're going to use Excel. So, first, let's do some data mining. Let's pull the data or link the data. And we would do this from here, going to the data tab here. So you have formula tab, go to the data tab. You have different ways in which you can pull the data. You're going to pull it from Access, the web, from text, or from other sources. We're actually going to pull it from text. It's a CSV file. We're going to pull today's data. We could change that so that we can have all the data always pulling from one big data source. But the way I've set up Syslog, it's actually um, creating a different file each day. We're going to tell it to import. It is delimited because I have set up some delimiters in the syslog server. This will help in dividing the data into respective columns so that everything isn't just in one big cell. And so take a look at the data before I indicate what my delimiters are. Take a look at it now. We're not going to indicate that it has headers. The delimiter is not a tab. I'm going to specify what the delimiter is. The delimiter is actually the pipe. So now look at it. As you can see, it's divided into nice columns for us to work with. Let's go next. I do not want to perform any other. Um, so this screen will let me select each column and set a data format if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as general for now, but we could go through everything and set up a particular format if we needed that. Let's say if this, like with date, we could do this, but we're not going to do any of those, so that's fine. Let's just go finish. I'm going to add this to a data model within Excel. That's something for another video to discuss. If you wish, you can also do some research on that, on data models. And so we brought the data into our Excel spreadsheet. We have 127 rows of data. As we can see, we don't have column headers. We can always just change that. Let's say, for instance, we could change this to IP address or originator. I think this is originator ID. This is originator name. This is facility. So we'll update that later, but that's something that's too simple to basically utilize um, our video time for. And so, but in order to have this as real-time data, so we want this to refresh So we want fresh data always coming in. We want this to always be updated so that we can know if anything has taken place. So how do we make this into something that's real time and not static? We want this to be dynamic. So in order to do that, go here, table design. Well, no, let's not go table design. Let's go to data. Let's go to refresh all, click the drop down box, connection properties. Prompt for file name on each refresh. No, we want this to be as now we're getting to a little automation here. How many minutes? Every 1 minute. We would like for this to refresh. I wish we could go lower into seconds, but we cannot. Refresh the data upon opening the file. It should do that if we open. Click OK. And so remember, we have 127 rows of data. Now, I'm going to pause the video for just a moment to allow some of the time to go by. Okay, and as you can see, we now have 31. We have 31 rows of data, so it's refreshed. But what I've done also is to make a few changes in the network. So what I did was unplug some cables and plug and reconnect them. So we should see another refresh taking place. Boom, and there we are. So now we have 168 rows of data. So now you have real-time data. Now, what can we do with that real-time data? We won't go into all the particular details, but I just want to show you what I've done with that real-time data. And here we are. We have a real-time dashboard. A real-time dashboard. So how many issues we have on our routers? We have 14 issues. How many on our switches, wireless devices? And for a total, we have 221 issues. Here we have a breakdown of the percentage of wireless issues, percentage of switch issues, and routers reported by syslog. So we're getting this information from syslog. Here we have warnings, notices, informational, and errors, the percentage wise. Now this part here is the issues per device. In the future, I would probably leave out, this would probably be more so group, but because this is just my personal lab and it's small, I decided to add these labels. But in the future, for huge network, I would probably have this group just into routers so we can see how many of those um, issues are notices, how many are informational, how many are actual errors for each particular group, such as wireless switches, um, routers, etc. And here we have our issue details. So from by per device or per particular device, we can actually click each device and look at the issues. So let's look at our core switches and we can start to investigate the errors that we're seeing. How about our wireless controller? So that's the core of our network there, our wireless controller. Let's start investigating these and see what's taking place and see what needs to be done. And so there you have it. You could also do a few things. It doesn't necessarily have to be real time, but this is for a monitoring dashboard. Perhaps you might need to present something to the stakeholders um, or to the executives in your company. Um, and so you could just create a static dashboard based upon the last 30, 60, or 90 days as to what's being seen, what you've been seeing. You can also present this to your team. And that way your team can have more insight as to here are some of the things that we're seeing in the network. If we can tackle these problems and resolve these things, perhaps we can create more reliability and availability to for the network. So at that point, you're kind of checking out the health of the network, what's taking place, and being proactive as opposed to reactive, and making the network more resilient and more functional, which helps the business perform as it should and to increase their revenue. Thank you all for viewing this video.